This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
All right, hi there. Welcome to our home away from home. Thanks so much for having us into yours. Glad you tuned in for another edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. As always, we've got a lot to get to on the show today. Now, coming up, it's that time of year again. Time to talk policy. We'll take you to the recent commodity conference at UGA to hear the current state of Georgia agriculture. Also on the program, Ranger Nick is back, and this month he's giving us a behind-the-scenes look at one of the most advanced turtle rescue operations in the entire country.
And then later, see what happens when a UAV goes head-to-head with a very territorial eagle. Ooh, all this and more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, how about some news that's positive as we start off today? We may start to see bigger yields in Georgia's soybean fields in the coming years. Recently at a Southern States Cooperative Field Day, growers got to hear about a study that's going on in Georgia that is changing the variety of soybeans that are grown in the state and changing the way the crop is managed. Mark Wildman follows that story.
In this soybean field in Dooley County, the crop may not look different, but what is being grown here and how it is being managed may totally change the way farmers look at growing soybeans in the state.
This field right here looks like it has at least 85 to 90 bushel yield potential, as do all our growers that have the Southern States 4917 indeterminate variety.
Longtime agronomist Eddie McGriff with Southern States Cooperative and retired UGA agronomist John Woodruff are looking at ways to grow the crop differently in Georgia in order to boost yields and potentially greatly boost farmers' profits. They were showing growers some of their results recently at a field day.
Well, traditionally we've planted soybeans from May 10th to June 10th. That's been the ideal time with determinate varieties. This is an indeterminate variety, Southern States 4917. We want to plant them in mid-April if we can. And we've seen with these indeterminate varieties, normally we don't plant in Georgia, we have an opportunity for longer leaf growth past flowering and also higher yield potential.
Last year, Brooks County farmer Randy Dowdy broke a Georgia soybean yield record using this method, so the study was expanded to 12 growers this year. The new method, which is being used in other parts of the country, requires a much different management approach.
One is the indeterminate variety, planting early, hopefully narrowing your rows as close as possible, plus supplemental nitrogen and potash. We're putting 30 pounds of nitrogen at planting, even though soybeans are a legume, and then we're coming back with another 30 pounds at pod fill with another 50 pounds of potash. The indeterminate varieties need to be harvested very timely, so we're going to use a harvest aid, Gramoxone, to dry the leaves down so we can get harvested as early as possible.
Georgia farmers have several options when they decide what to plant in their fields, and experts here hope this new system will give growers another good choice when it comes time to plant.
The most important thing will be perhaps for early planting where they got irrigation and they're looking at an option as compared to corn, cotton, or maybe peanut. The regular traditional determinate soybean is one typically planted after small grain in June. This type soybean is not suited for that late of planting, so it would have a fit perhaps with early planting and where farmers are looking for an option for something else to plant in April.
When you talk big yields, it gets everyone's attention, but the bottom line is, does it make good business sense?
I can tell them that it's working for others in the Delta and Mid-South, and we are trying it to see if it works here too. I am excited. I'm impressed. You know, I don't know how practical things are. One of the things we're trying to do is get a pencil and pencil down every money that's spent on the crop versus what they're making, and we won't have a good answer till we get a cost versus return on it. But it does look encouraging at this point.
In Dooley County, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. In other news now, not exactly the best timing with Labor Day weekend right around the corner, but This is video you definitely have to see. This lady here, believed to be the biggest great white shark ever caught on camera. Nicknamed Deep Blue by divers, she measures a whopping 20 feet long, 50 years old, and pregnant at the time the video was shot. Shark expert Mauricio Hoyos Padilla captured the video 2 years ago off the coast of Mexico, but just recently uploaded the clip to his Facebook page. Padilla calling Deep Blue the biggest shark he has ever seen. Meantime, amid severe drought conditions, the city of Los Angeles took to extreme measures recently by rolling out 96 million of these little black plastic balls into the LA reservoir. The concept being they float atop the surface, shading the water below and slowing down evaporation. The city says by doing this, it hopes to save some 300 million gallons a year. Now, recently, a large number of Georgia Farm Bureau members gathered on the UGA campus for the 37th Annual Commodity Conference held at the Georgia Center.
The groups got a chance to talk about recent challenges among the various commodities and look at new opportunities in the ag industry. The policy development process for the Georgia Farm Bureau got underway for the next year. 20 different areas of the state's #1 industry represented at the annual gathering, including aquaculture, cotton, beef, equine, and poultry, just to mention a few. Before the committee members got down to business, producers had a chance to hear from some key faculty members at the university. Dr. Sheila Allen, dean of the UGA Vet School, gave attendees a look inside veterinary medicine and the important connection to the work farmers do on a day-in, day-out basis.
We are here to provide veterinary services from our hospital and also out in the field. But not only is that important for animal agriculture, but it's also important educationally for us because we've got to provide the training for our students to be functional practitioners when they graduate. And so I would encourage farmers in Georgia to use our services, not only to help them, but it helps us also.
Dr. Allen told us her department was most excited about the new animal hospital, a $97 million facility.
We can provide more services at that facility. We can see more patients at that facility, and we have the ability to add some farm practice vehicles and different services that we weren't able to do before. That's one thing. Secondly, we can increase our enrollment now. At the old facility, we were just way too crowded, and now we've started to ramp up our enrollment a little bit, so that will provide more veterinarians for Georgia.
One of the key speakers on this year's program was Dr. Jeffrey Dorfman, professor of agricultural and applied economics at UGA.
Not as much since we won't have an incumbent. When you have an incumbent, it predicts a lot. A good economy tends to get you reelected. But since nobody who's running right now, I mean, unless Joe Biden gets in, we won't have somebody who can kind of claim they did that. So I think it's just going to be a non-factor. If you look at the historical data, it's true. You actually do the best when you have a Democratic president and a Republican Congress. Second best is a Republican president and a Democratic Congress. So the real story is you do better when we've got split government and they can't get as much done.
Dorfman said farmers and producers working even harder for their return, given today's economy.
Was that returns per acre keep going down, and what farmers have done as a response is they keep getting bigger. So instead of farming 500 acres, you go to 600, 800, 1,000, and that's how people make a living. They just have to keep getting bigger so that they keep their household income where they want it to be.
And at lunch, the presentation of the 2015 Commodity Award went to Dr. John McKissick, a nationally recognized economist. McKissick became the extension coordinator for the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences until he retired in 2010. And as is customary, following the award ceremonies, each commodity group broke into their individual meetings as they kick off the policy development season. Now, still to come on the Monitor, an event aimed to create a safe, muddy, fun day of climbing, crawling, jumping, running, and jogging.
But first, Ranger Nick with a behind-the-scenes look at how the Georgia Sea Turtle Center goes about rescuing these adorable little creatures. Stay with us. You're watching the Georgia Farm Monitor.
I'm Suzanne Bentley, here with the Georgia Beef Board and the Georgia Cattlemen's Association's Culinary Kitchen. And today we're making a family favorite that you may not think to use when celebrating Labor Day, but we think it's perfect if you're trying to get away from the traditional grilling out on Labor Day. We're making this beef ravioli, keeping it kids simple, but you can also put an adult twist to it later on. We'll talk about that. We started with just the basic ingredients. We had frozen ravioli that we used for this recipe, mozzarella cheese, ground beef seasoned with some onions, some garlic, a little bit of oregano in there, and then just your favorite spaghetti sauce or pasta sauce. You can also make your own ravioli if you're feeling really excited about it, or your own pasta sauce as well. You can use that. And we just preheated our oven to 400 degrees, layered all these ingredients starting with sauce on the bottom, followed by ground beef, some cheese and some noodles, and then leaving your cheese on the top, and popped it in the oven for about 30 minutes, and we have our baked beef ravioli. And again, for adults, you can add some peppers in there, add some mushrooms, maybe even some spinach if you're looking for something like that, but you can keep it kid-friendly just like we did. And if you're looking for more recipes like this, head on over to gabeef.org or beefitswhatsfordinner.com.
Suzanne, thank you very much. Well, what you see on TV is exactly what you get in person. Ranger Nick, his motto, of course, enthusiasm's contagious, and this month he was very enthusiastic to give us a behind-the-scenes look at one of the state's premier rescue facilities.
Well, if the day isn't quite going your way and you're finding yourself looking for something to do to improve your mood, to improve your attitude, I find looking at a turtle always helps. They're so darn cute. Well, this month, my wife Jess and I are hanging out on Jekyll Island at the Georgia Sea Turtle Center with Miss Nikki Pinnell, works down here, a graduate of the University of Georgia. We're talking about how the center saves and cares for sick and injured sea turtles, and I think it's really going to warm your heart. All the great things that the center's doing to help these excellent reptiles. Check this out. So what we're looking at here is the operating room here at the Georgia Sea Turtle Center. Nikki, walk us through the process. A call comes in that there's been an injured sea turtle found. How does it come from the beach to a place like this?
Oftentimes it starts with a phone call. We get a lot of folks that are out watching our beaches, and a lot of times they're the first ones to report a sick or injured turtle. And that call goes to the Department of Natural Resources, and then they're the kind of action force that says, okay, we need to get somebody out there, or hey, Georgia Sea Turtle Center, we have a turtle that's been reported, go pick it up. And so once it's brought in, it comes into this treatment room here, and we just do an initial exam. We take a blood sample. Dr. Norton will just assess the turtle and see kind of what we're working with. A lot of times we have turtles that come in with fish hooks. Other times we see boat strike victims, and a lot of times they're just debilitated turtles. We don't know exactly what's going on with them, but they're sick, they're underweight, they're lethargic, and they're just not doing well.
Gosh, and we're standing outside of the operating room. There's a window, and the public is in this room right here. So it's completely open to the public. So I'm coming up here as a kid, let's say, looking in at an actual live assessment that's going on with a turtle. Now, I got to ask this, Nikki. I'm looking in this window, and I'm seeing, so you mentioned these different fish hooks that have been lodged in that turtle, but we've got a couple containers of honey. What is the purpose of the honey there in this operating room?
That's a great question. Well, we actually use a lot of locally grown honey and actually pure honey as sea turtle treatment. So if they come in with wounds or abscesses or open sores, we can actually put honey in that wound, and it acts as a natural antiseptic. So it helps to clean out that wound, kind of helps and acts like hydrogen peroxide. And it also works really great because honey doesn't come off so easy in water.
Wow, we always are big fans of Georgia Grown here on the Georgia Farm Monitor. That is pretty sweet stuff. So the Sea Turtle Center just opened for business just a couple minutes ago, and the crowds are gathering. Turtles are an obvious attraction here. Nikki, let's say I'm a farmer out in Iowa. What can I do to help a sea turtle in the Atlantic Ocean that we can do to help?
The biggest thing you can do is just pick up trash. Even if it's not your own trash, eventually a lot of the things that are blowing in the road or that you see on your property or in the gutters, a lot of that ends up down in our ocean and on our beaches. And a lot of it, like I think you have a plastic bag with you.
So I just so happen to have a little plastic bag with me, and Jess and I are very much known for not using these at the grocery store, but using those cloth bags. So these are the kinds of things you're talking about not to throw on the ground. So Nikki, sea turtles, see these? I've heard it looks like a jellyfish, is that right?
Yep, they sure do. Oftentimes look a lot like jellyfish, and we actually have a species of sea turtle, the leatherback sea turtle, that primarily eats jellyfish. So trying to figure out plastic bag or jellyfish. That's a really hard thing for a sea turtle to do.
Wow, and it's not just about sea turtles here at the center. It's about other aquatic turtles. And I have a feeling, I think Nikki has a guest with her today, which is so great. Check this out. Oh, you know I'm all about teaching with live animals. Who are we looking at here?
This is Mara, and she is a diamondback terrapin that came into our center because she was actually hit by a car.
Wow, and we know that these guys are crossing the road a lot this time of the year. This is actually, Nikki, I don't know if you know this, you know, I'm from Maryland. This is the state turtle of Maryland, so we like you so much there, sweetie. That's really, really cool. I mean, look at that, isn't that neat?
She kind of looks like she's smiling.
Yes, she does. Who could not smile at a show like this at the Farm Monitor? What a wonderful thing. Nikki, these guys that are getting stuff inside them, they go outside to some tanks where they rehab some more, aren't they? And we're going to see some of those tanks.
That's right. So if you walk into our pavilion, you can see all of our sea turtle patients and Mara's friend Cabbage that are recovering in our hospital because of either being sick or injured.
Wonderful things the Sea Turtle Center's doing here. I love it. Well, I hope your heart's been warmed by the wonderful things that the Jekyll Island Georgia Sea Turtle Center's doing to help not only sea turtles, but other marine life like that diamondback terrapin. Hey, want to give a big shout out to the Sea Turtle Center and to Nikki Pinnell for spending some time with me today. I had a blast. So glad Jess was able to be with me too. Check out the Georgia Sea Turtle Center there at the bottom of your screen. Click on it, and while you're there, check out the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page. Check out the Ranger Nick Facebook page. I love to hear back from fans on there. And remember, enthusiasm's contagious, so pass it on. I hope you've had a great time with us today. We sure have. We'll see you next time. See ya.
All right, Nick, great job, sir. Back to the commodity conference in Athens. We had a chance to catch up with one of the vendors sharing his knowledge of honeybees. Brett Nolan said under the leadership of Dr. Keith Delaplane, there is never a dull moment.
We're right now doing a bunch of research on varroa mites, which is a fairly new pest to the honeybee, and it's one of the major problems of honeybee decline right now. So we're just, we do a bunch of outreach programs. We talk at schools. We talk a lot. I was at a local bee club last night. We talk at bee clubs and just raise awareness for pollinators in general, honeybees, and we, as of just doing research on bees, where we're actually training prisoners to become, when they come out of prison, they have they'll have a skill that they can do, and so we're giving them the certified level exam. We have exams we run that like make you a certified beekeeper, and there's different levels you can get. So Jennifer Berry, the lab tech, the head of the lab, she has kind of headed that up, and it seems to be taking off really well.
When we come back, a bird's eye view of what happens when a UAV gets a little too close to an eagle's nest. Stay tuned. You're watching the Georgia Farm Monitor.
My name's Avery Duncan. I'm the 2015-2016 state president, and I'm from Franklin County. Growing up, I didn't live on a farm like many people who become an FFA. My father was an FFA member, and I always remember him telling me all the stories about how he was in the FFA and the memories that he made. And then my sister, who is 3 years older than me, she was in the FFA, and she started showing pigs, and she joined in CDEs. And really, those two aspects made me want to join this organization and see what it had to offer for me. There are tons of opportunities in the FFA, and you may feel like that one thing that you aren't necessarily interested in 2 or 3 years down the road, that may become like what you're passionate about in the FFA. I know that happened to me when I was in middle school, like I said, how necessarily I was more interested in the leadership aspect, and now I'm fully involved in the agricultural aspect of this organization. That I didn't expect that to happen, but it ended up happening, and this is where I am now.
To learn more about the National FFA organization, log on to ffa.org.
Avery, thank you, sir. Hey, word of warning to all the UAV pilots out there. Stay away from any and all eagle's nests if possible. The pilot of this UAV learned that the hard way. Reportedly, Melbourne Aerial Video, the company which shot the video, says the Eagle Hawk, which is highly territorial and known to fly about 6,000 feet, escaped unharmed. The drone, on the other hand, well, I think the video speaks for itself.
Yes, it
Down
does.
she goes. Well, more than 4 miles, 25 obstacles, and a ton of mud faced the runners that attended the 3rd annual Utter Mud Run in Covington.
David Jones was there. He tells you how this fun family event also benefits the lives of thousands of FFA students.
More than 1,200 people got down and dirty recently as they participated in this 6K obstacle-laden mud run put on by the Georgia FFA FCCLA Center in Covington. And the goal of this event was pretty obvious.
Hey man, we got a big run called the Utter Mud Run, just having a good time. I have a lot of kids, family, friends out here, so just a whole day packed full of fun.
And the key word there is family, as this is one of the few mud runs that allows children to participate with their parents. It's the kind of bonding experience this organization encourages for child development.
We're all about building character, and if you want to build character, the most important person that's going to build character is their parents. And if we have their parents here and their parents are building, having fun with their kids and building a relationship with their kids, you know, they have the more opportunity to build the character traits that we want to see built anyway.
While you will see people of all ages and experience on this course, that doesn't mean completing it will be child's play.
We have a lot of different, we have the elite runners to the novice runners here today, and we have a lot of our elite runners that have already ran the course, and some of them ran it in 35, 40 minutes. And they have said it's a very challenging course, very fun course. But then our novice runners, they tell us, wow, it's a lot of fun, they get dirty, but they can complete it.
With more than 20 different obstacles that require crawling, climbing, and even scooting, putting on an event this large a scale takes plenty of hard work. However, it's something they look forward to each and every year.
A whole lot of work. It takes about a year to plan it out from now. So we'll start this year planning out for next year. So about a year to figure it all out. Oh man, I love it. It's one of the best and most rewarding jobs you can ever have. I get to be out here and be pushing our mission to change lives with families. So it's absolutely awesome.
And every dollar raised by this event goes to supporting this center, which does a variety of things for the FFA organization, from running summer camps to hosting leadership conferences. In fact, last year they impacted more than 30,000 FFA students.
Oh, we do a bunch of everything. Basically, FFA is a part of our camp. They were the original reason why we started it. We're named the Georgia FFA FCCLA Center, and we have different ag advisors that bring their chapters here for camp. So we do camps here. We help them with some of their conferences and just a little bit of everything. And we're just pretty much agrarian society. We have cows, we have livestock, so we do a little bit of everything centered around ag and FFA.
But today it's all about family, friends, and of course, a ton of mud. And while the finish times will range anywhere from 35 minutes to a couple of hours, it's all about the feeling of success when you cross that finish line.
Well, I want them to have fun. I want them to have a positive experience with this facility. I want them to enjoy their friends and their family as they're here, and I hope they feel very accomplished after they complete this race. You know, you ran 4.4 miles. You know, it's not about how fast you finish. It's about when you cross that line and you get that medal put on you that you finished. I did it.
Reporting from Covington, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Damon, great job, sir. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Hope you have a great week.